Alright, we are back with another review, and today we're going to be checking out some Polymaker filament turned into EDC products. So without further ado, let's hop right into this review. So straight out the gate, a huge generous thank you to Polymaker for sending us over all this filament for us to make these projects. Amazing products you have over there at Polymaker. I was able to find the exact right fit filament for every single piece today that I printed. We're going to go over the filament first. I'll show you all the different spools, and then we'll show you all the stuff that we printed with them. So straight out the gate, I did grab some nice light PLA from, of course, their shop. We grabbed some LW, so lightweight PLA, and we got some light PLA here. Green, olive drab, and we got the light gray. Again, two essential colors for EDC. I went with the lightweight PLA because some of the things that I printed today, they don't need to essentially be full weight of the print to have the effectiveness of working. So next up we grabbed was from the Panchroma series, some matte muted green. Gotta have the matte, gotta have the muted green. It's going to be essential for the color combo that I did later, which you're going to see. Next up we got is my favorite gradient. It's the Fire Gradient PLA. This is probably my favorite fall style gradient. It goes from red to orange to yellow. Love that. Next up we got is the Polymax, the heavy duty, the Beaster. This is going to be like the working parts, heavy duty weight bearing parts I printed with this. And we'll talk about that in a second, but I grabbed this nice, it's like a desert, dark desert brown tan, greenish slate type of look. It has a really nice look to it, and it goes perfect with some of the EDC gear that I'm going to be featuring today, so that's really awesome. Next up we got, it's not a spool of orange, it's not a spool of gray, it's a spool of foggy orange, which is gray orange. A little gradient here. Orange and gray really blends together nice and drops layers down really cool. You're going to see some really neat stuff and effects that I printed with this particular filament. Foggy orange. Last but not least, my favorite from this batch of new prints that I was able to make is this marble. This is something that I haven't checked out their marble sandstone, and I wanted to grab this and do a print with it. And I'm going to show you the print that we did with this from the Panchroma series. This looks really awesome. Again, that sandstone look has a really nice layout when it prints, and we're going to show you that as well. So let's start off with some prints. I'll kind of show you what I was able to make with those filaments that were sent over graciously by Polymaker, and let's just kind of hop right into it. So first thing I ended up doing was I grabbed some of these field notes. And before I get into all this, I'll leave links down in the description to all these models. I don't know if each individual model, I might just link to some people's pages because some of these models I got from, multiple models from the same person. So anyway, models will be down there. Just check out the description. Everything will be down there. So field notes. So if you have a little field notebook and you want to be able to have some things for that field notebook, some accessories, we got a hardback here. So a nice little hardback. And you can see that gradient, the orange and the gray, these are printed with that foggy orange, as you can see. We got a little ruler here for your field notebook. Some stencils, which as you can see here, you can just draw different designs or leave different bullet points, as well as different icons. And you can see that foggy orange printed out. Really, really cool. So a nice little field notebook accessory kit. Now here's our field notes right here. I ended up finding this clipboard. I thought this clipboard was really cool. And I paired this. This is that, the fall gradient PLA. So this little clipboard has little snaps that slot in up top, just like that. And you just slide them out. And it allows you to release your book. And then you can, and we have, what do we have? The Grand Canyon National Park one here. And then you can, obviously fold your book like that and put it back in. And then you can lock in your field notes. And I believe this will work with other brands. I'm just not sure which exact brands are the exact size of field notes. So if you're looking to get this and maybe use it for a different brand, I would maybe get the measurements for a field notebook first before doing this, and then print away. So like I said, the print will be down in the description. What I thought was cool about this clipboard is it has this really cool topo design. So I used that lightweight PLA for the gray accents here, and then you can see obviously the fall gradient on there. Even the top looks yellow, orange, and then red, which is really cool. And like I said, just slide these two little sustainers here, or retainers, I guess you can call them, and they hold down your field notes so they don't blow away. And you can write. I paired it up with a little Klein scribe pen. So there you go. There's your little field notebook, little clipboard. I thought that was cool. And the same thing goes with all of these, because again, these are going to be things that you can use with your field notebook. Some accessories, I think, that kind of work out and are kind of paired with that. So in regards to some other smaller things that I came up with for prints that would be useful, here's another one with the fall gradient pattern here. This is the Multitool. Now, if you know the Leatherman Signal has a hammer on the end here, the Multitool does not, as you can see. But this print right here was a really simple print, super small, and it's a little hinged plastic part. It has a little plastic insert here that threads through. It has a cutout for the bits, so you're able to actually access the bits like that. It has a little cutout in there so you can recess the bits back down in there. And on this side, it has storage. It says for up to 2 bits, but I only have 1 bit in there because I don't know if you could fit another one in there with this little latch as well. You'll see the clearance there. But it's a little hammer on the end, so you have some stopping power or a way to kind of mash something in. It makes a hammer for the Multitool, but it also gives you a little secondary storage area here for a bit. And again, when you get this opened up and folded out like that, you can fold it out. It actually kind of pulls the bit up with it, which is kind of neat when you fold it out. Let's grab this. Let's see if I can get this out of here with the way that it folded up. Let's grab a tool to grab our tool. There we go. Cool. Put that back in. Put that back in its sheath, and we'll bring that out later. So there is the little flathead. And again, it gets stored down in there. And then this cap's on top. Now, again, I don't think you could fit 2 in there. I really don't think you could fit 2 in there. Because one just barely fits in there with a little bit of clearance for this, which you don't really need that. But enough clearance for just that. So pretty cool little accessory for the Leatherman Multitool if you have one of those. Again, EDC stuff and 3D prints, it's a lot harder than you think to find actual functional things that are worthy to print for EDC stuff. But I was able to find some really good stuff today, so we'll go over that for sure as we go through this. And I'll introduce some smaller stuff, and then we'll get into some larger stuff. Now, a big thing that I always thought was necessary, that if you're out and about and you get injured, it's always good to know exactly not only your blood type, but having other people who might be able to help you know what your blood type is too. So these are little blood tags that you could put. You could strap these onto your MOLLE system for your EDC bags or for keeping it on the outside of your EDC bags. It just tells you exactly what it is for your blood type. So there's no question. Make sure you know what your blood type is, and then designate it so on the outside just in case. And then again, if something does happen to you and you need to know your blood type, maybe as a reminder, it's always good to have something like this on you to remind you of what it actually is in case you need some kind of intervention medically. So I always think this is probably something that's useful, but it never really gets input into EDC stuff or the EDC circuit, if you would. So another thing that comes in handy for me personally, this is a personal EDC product, is going to be a gauge for how long in millimeters a screw is and what size it is. You've got the size designation here on the side, and you got the length right here. Size designation is going to be the hex hole on the top. Something like this is really easy. You can just lay it down and you can clearly see, boom, 28. You know what I'm saying? For length on something like that. And this was actually made with that sandstone. So you can see the sandstone there, printed really nice. And I did a black accent with that, which I think turned out really good for defining the numbers on the drop-down chart. And this is something you could always use, is a nice gauge to see exactly what size the screws and nuts are that you're dealing with, especially if you're working with 3D printers. And speaking of 3D printers, let's check out some advanced technology. So this is a card, okay, that doesn't say anything on it, but has a hidden message on it, which when you shine a light behind, it has a nice hidden message which says subscribe. So subscribe to the channel and drop it down if you like EDC content, stuff like this, some neat little EDC prints or just prints in general that just work out really cool. Drop a subscribe. We do lots of cool videos on here, and I I like to put time into some of my videos that maybe stretch out over weeks, and something like this is one of those videos. So this is going to be a secret message, which you could put anything you want in there. You could put like a Wi-Fi password, if you don't want people to know your Wi-Fi password or something like that. But this doesn't also work with just shining a light underneath it. You could just hold this up to a light and you could read the hidden phrase inside the piece of plastic. And again, you could do that larger, like a huge sign. You can do it smaller to make it a small secret note. But I thought that was so cool to have something like this that has hidden information built inside of it. And just by looking at this, you'd be like, oh man, it's just like a fake credit card or something, or it's just like a piece of crap. But inside could have some valuable information. Maybe you could put your crypto passwords. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out stuff there, just spitballing. But I like the ability of having that little secret word there that gets revealed. Next thing that I ended up doing was we're going to hop into some integrated parts like I did with the Skeletal. This is for my Olight Arcfeld Ultra. This is a little stand which prints in two parts. It has this black bottom base, and then this was that desert tan PLA that I showed you. I've printed it with a fuzzy skin, as you can see here. Run the power cord in. The base station sits down in there. I put a small piece of double-sided tape on the back of the base station so that when the magnet lifts off, and I'll show you here in a second, it doesn't pull that up and like pull the cord into the unit. And then here's the plug that comes with your Olight. You're able to display your challenge coin there for the flashlight itself. And then I was able to match it as close as possible to my actual Arcfeld Ultra, which again sits just like that. When you look back here, it'll light up red when it's charging, which is really cool to be able to get that visual indicator. But again, when you slide it out, it doesn't pull up the base because I put a little piece of double-sided tape in there. And this was one of my favorite prints, I think, from today that I'm going to show you. I'm showing it kind of in the middle because it's so cool. It is so cool. I thought this was one of the best ones out there for at least my particular EDC stuff, because I charge my Arcfeld all the time, and this is a really nice, convenient way to be able to have a station set up for it that's dedicated to charge my flashlight, versus having to deal with this little cord and this little small tiny base station that they have in there. So it beefed it up and it made it super cool, and I think it looks great. And I love the integration with the challenge coin, because honestly, when I got the flashlight, I didn't really know what to do with the challenge coin. What do you do with challenge coin? I mean, flipping a coin. So it makes it neat that it actually integrates it in for a display piece, which I thought was really neat and handy. All right, cool. So let's jump into something a little bit practical EDC. As you can see here, we got the TRG branded can topper. I thought this was so cool in regard when I saw this, because summertime and you're out with the boys drinking on the lawn, and you all got some road sodas, and you want to make sure that you're drinking your own road soda, but you also want to make sure there's no bugs getting in your sodas. You have this little slider here, which you slide the tab in this little middle section. You could even brand it with your initials if you want, like I did here, just so you know whose brew is brew. And then you can just turn it like that, and it closes up the cavity so that you don't have to worry about anything getting in there, but you also know whose drink this is. And a lot of people like to have that nice peace of mind, and I think this is a nice EDC thing that you could easily pop this off and slide this in your pocket and bring this with you. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you go. You're out at a bar, at a beach bar, and you don't want any bugs getting in your drinks, in your canned drinks, your canned beverages. There you go. Bring yourself your little pop topper, which I thought was a really neat little EDC thing. Different than some of this other stuff. Again, not everything EDC-wise has to be survival. You know what I mean? Or how to live off the land stuff. So, all right. Next thing is a smaller item that I was able to get, was a sheath for the Victorinox scissors. So you could just carry the scissors if you want. And I thought it was really nice to have the little cross on there. I did this one in that fall gradient PLA, which turned out really nice. And then I used sandstone for the cross. Obviously, you could do traditional red with the cream white or the bone white for the cross, but I went with the filaments that I was provided with today to make these, and I think that turned out really cool, and I like that sheath. Next thing up, we got another practical print. So you've probably seen stuff like this, where you have little clips where you can clip them onto your pants or your cloth. And you have the ability to put like a key ring on here. You can see I got my house key on here. It's ready to go. Actually, this is a Japanese skeleton key, which is used to open like extremely old padlocks. And this is a replica key, which allows you to open those if you don't have the original padlock key. But since I know how you guys are on the internet, or if I use my real key here, you guys would be like copying it and stuff. But neither here nor there. You can put your keys on here, and you can clip this onto the outside of your cloth material, or like you got like basketball or gym shorts. Once you slide it slides down real easy, but it takes a lot of effort to pull it up. So these little triangles, the inverted triangles, they basically grip onto the fabric and allow you to have your keys clipped onto your waist. Like if you had, like I said, athletic shorts or swim trunks, you can put this and clip this on, and you can carry your keys with you, or key, you know, wherever you go without having to have pockets. I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought that was really interesting to be able to make something that's like this, that's durable enough. I printed it like this, so flat up and down like this, so it had a little more strength as well. So orientation of the prints, I think, matter a lot when it comes to stuff like this, functional prints. Speaking of orientation, one of the next things that I did was a holster hanger. So if you're like me, you have a over-the-shoulder holster that you carry with you everywhere you go for peace of mind. And when you're done with said holster and you want to hang this up in a dust-free environment, you can have something like this, which again, I stacked it. It's 100% infill, stack printed it, where the strength is sandwiched within the print versus being layered like this, where it could get pulled apart. Printed flat. And yeah, a really nice little holster holder. You can lay all your leather holster accessories out on here, and you could do literally the whole thing. For me personally, I put my left and right, and I splayed out over both of these. And it's a dedicated holster holder for me. And again, EDC is not only what I'm carrying on me, but it's also like convenience. Like my charger here for my Arcfeld, you know, that's EDC for me. This is EDC for me because when I'm everyday carrying and I want to come home and I want to unload, that's a great place to unload. Speaking of unloading, the next thing I was able to build, and I'll take these off here and I'll show you was a little stand for pocket knives or multi-tools. You could put multi-tools on here too. It's not just limited to pocket knives. But it didn't have fall gradient. Oh my God, that fall gradient is popping. And it's a little stand like this. It's vertical. It's got 3 spots there for you to be able to store some knives, and you can load this thing up here. We'll put this in the back here so you can kind of get an idea of some of the knives. We got our Klein Tools knife here. We'll put that there. We have our Victor Knox. We'll put that there. And then we even have a Wild knife, my everyday carry knife, which is right here, and put that on the top. And it even has room for you to dangle down. And look at that, holds your knives real nice. A real clean way when you take your pocket knives out of your pocket and you want to put them somewhere. That's a nice little shelf to have. Again, EDC doesn't always mean stuff that you can carry for everyday carry. Sometimes it's stuff that supports your everyday carry materials, like charging stands, holster holders, and even a stand for your knives. So last thing on the survival train, and then we'll hop into some containers and wrap up this video. But this little card I thought was so cool. It's a find home card, which tells you essentially how to find true north, and tells you exactly using constellations at night or during the day. You can see the sun up here, and here is the moon. It tells you exactly how to find the way home, or find true north, so you can find your direction, get your bearing straight, and then get home. I printed this in that sunstone, and I think it turned out really freaking cool. And I did a nice black accent to it. Now, here's a bonus with this little print. It has 2 drawers. Check this out. Little drawers. This is a tick remover, which is so convenient, because if you're lost and you're looking for your way, you're probably going to have something sitting somewhere. Then you got a nice little drawer here where you can put maybe a flat piece of paper, map, Band-Aid, folded it up. I'm not sure, but you can. It's a small little drawer, and I'm glad that they included that. They even included a hole here if you want to carry this, which I probably wouldn't advise because these might fall out. But again, a find home card. I thought that was pretty useful, and I think that's something that some people could probably use. Maybe not everybody. I mean, I know how to find north and how to find my way home and find direction, but some people might not be able to, and this is going to be a great tool for that, to have a reference when it matters. Now, the last kind of weird EDC thing I'll show you is some of these key blanks, which are meant to be used, like if you're a landlord and you have property and you want to lock someone out, these are meant to basically destroy the lock. They're lock inhibitors is what they, is it an EDC thing? For some people, probably. Again, you slide this into the lock and then you just break it off in the lock. And once you break it off in the lock, where that break point is, this part stays in the lock. And it'll basically not be able to be used. The lock can't be used. It can't be unlocked. It can't be locked. It can't be used at all. It just deads the lock. So I thought that would be something that's a little mischievous, a little off the wall. If you're looking to disrupt something in a way, that might be something that might be a good disruptor for you. Maybe just having one of these with you at all times, you know, just in case you ever need to disrupt the lock from being able to be opened, maybe behind you or whatever. Thought that would be an interesting thing to throw in here. Interested to see if anybody thinks that's a cool little EDC thing or not. All right, we've got 2 containers after this, and I'll show you this one, which is a, knock stuff over here. We got an olive can here, which I turned into a stash can. As you can see in here, it's got a little lid that you glue on, and that has some interlocking. They're kind of pronged down like this so that it can go underneath this lip here. So they're kind of pronged down a little bit, as you can see. So they're kind of pronged down because it goes underneath the lip and then turns underneath it. So pretty cool on that. I mean, you can stash stuff in here. I'd probably put some foam in the bottom there if you have anything that's going to rattle around. If you're just looking to store cash, or maybe you want to put your crypto USB drives in something like this. Throw some foam in there. You won't even hear it. But yeah, I wanted to make a stash can because stash cans are good for every day. Everyday carry. I don't know. It's almost a generic term at this point, if you would. All right, we'll show you 2 more things that I printed before I let you all go. I'm going to scoot this stuff out of the way for now because the last 2 are pretty large. Move all this stuff out of the way. First one's a smaller EDC box printed in that fall gradient. And as you can see here, a nice little box with an interchange, has hoops on the outside here, which allow you to hook up like tensioner lines, so you can put stuff on the outside here. Again, gray on the clasps and hinge. And I even threw a layer of TPU in here. Now, the layer of TPU is probably the only thing in here that is not Polymaker, but let's check it out. It is color change TPU. So a little bit of softness to the inside, kind of like what I was doing with the can foam. The TPU will just give it a little non-rattle factor. I really wanted to use this case for EDC purposes, and I think having something like that is going to be a game changer for sound. So let's move on to the last print, and probably the most meaningful print out of the ones today, which is the sandstone print with that beautiful green. This was, and then I did the closing locking mechanism with that higher density PLA. So this is a little EDC box that I printed from Paw Prints, PP. Paw Prints, the only one I remember off the top of my head from all these creators who made these prints, because this is the second box that I've made of his, which is pretty cool. Not this size, did a half size one of this, a triangular box. But he prints little feet for the bottom here to keep it nice. It's got some really nice cutouts. Accents I did here with that different brown, tan, green. Same thing goes here for the hinges. And it just works out really nice. And it's what it is it's a dump box. It's meant for you to put your lunch in, but for me personally, it's a dump box. And it actually holds the lid open. So really huge cavity in here. And what I like about having something like this is, let's say I'm going somewhere where I'm not able to carry my EDC kit, but I want to just kind of leave my kit in the car. I don't want to put it in the center console. Something like this works out perfectly great, where I can lay my EDC kit in the dump box, and then I could just close this up. I can lock this up by spinning that around, and now it doesn't open up or vibrate open or lift open. So it's not like a lock, but it's something that's going to keep this lid with a turnstile able to have the security to keep your stuff in there. And there's tons of room in here. I mean, look at the size of this. The other case I just showed you wouldn't fit something like this in there. It's too small. But something like this is essential. And I don't know about you, but I have a dump box in every one of my vehicles. Again, dump box is great. Again, you dumping everything out because you maybe have to go somewhere where stuff that's inside there isn't allowed to be in there. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's unintentional too. Sometimes you might be going to something like a symphony, which has happened to me quite a lot, where I've lost knives because I've waited in line 30, 40 minutes. Get to the front, we get to the metal detectors. We didn't know that they were there. And I can't take my nail clipper in, or my knife, my Victorinox clippers or something, because they picked up on the metal detector. So I have to either go run back to the car or throw them away. So what's nice is I can put this stuff in the dump box, close it up, put it in the car. It doesn't look like anything special. It doesn't say Max Edition on the box or anything special brand name wise. It's just a generic plastic dump box that no one would think twice about. And again, you can make it not in all these accented colors like I did. You can actually do it in something that's maybe a little more gray man. If you want it to be gray man, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to show you the side view of this sandstone. Look at how beautiful that printed out, especially with this nice gray, this slate gray. I think the color combo of these two turned out amazing. And then again, with that third little brown color for the accents, I think this piece turned out really, really nice. And again, it's a very meaningful piece because it gives you peace of mind that your stuff's not on you, not going to get taken away, and in a safe, secure location, and it's not just going to get lost in the center console or put somewhere where it shouldn't be put, just so it's out of the way and not visible. So again, dump box, let me know what everyone thinks down in the comments below about dump boxes. Do you like dump boxes? Do you like to have the ability to have a place to put stuff in your vehicle or wherever you're traveling with, so that you can take stuff out of your pockets and literally dump things out into it that you can't take certain places? So I'll just keep it at that. I would say that's probably my second favorite print today. My favorite print is by far, it's got to be this Arcfeld Ultra little docking station. I think this is probably my favorite from today. When I saw this print, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be very cool to make, and I'm excited to put this together. Again, it didn't give you instructions to put double-sided tape on that little dock down there, but I would highly advise that if you want to be able to lift this up without like pulling the cord in and pulling the dock up into the canal there. So again, if you're looking for these models, I'll leave links down in the comments below. But why don't you tell me which one was your favorite today? I know I did a lot of stuff. It took almost a 30-minute video, but we went through a lot of EDC stuff today and EDC counterpart stuff. Again, not everything needs to be, you know, something I'm carrying with me for EDC. It could just be a nice place for me to rest my knives. It could be a message or a note to a friend. It could be a way for me to hang up my holsters when I come in for the day and I'm done. These are the things that I think are EDC to me. You know what I'm saying? Things that complement, things that go along with, and also things that go along with me every single day. And you let me know down in the comments below which one was your favorite model. And yeah, we'll do more of this, and more to come. Appreciate you, Polymaker, for sending over this amazing filament. This has been such a great video to put together and to print all this stuff and to put all these models together. Some great artists came up with a lot of the stuff that I put out today and printed. And man, it's really cool to see how far 3D printing has taken EDC and the tools that we use every single day, and how 3D printing is now complementing that because of all these durable materials that are coming out by companies like Polymaker, but also models and the techniques for creating things have become significantly advanced. So very, very stoked to see the future of how we can integrate EDC stuff and 3D printing together to make things a lot more convenient, and to be able to create things that aren't out there on the market, which is one of the things that I think matters most, is be able to create things that are not created already. So anyway, let me know down in the comments below which one was your favorite model, and yeah, have a great rest of your day.